Today we'll be sharing important information with you regarding New York State's paid family leave, and as public employers, it's important that you are well informed regarding this life-changing benefit that you have the option to secure for your employees. As you may be aware, New York's paid family leave is an insurance benefit that public employers could easily opt in to provide your employees at no direct cost to you. But you may be wondering, why the need for paid family leave in the first place? For too long, employees have struggled to maintain their jobs when they needed to care for a loved one during a specific time of need, whether that was welcoming a new baby, caring for a family member with a serious health condition, or dealing with family pressures when a spouse, domestic partner, child, or parent is deployed abroad on active military service. These pressures can affect job performance and spill over into the workplace. Research shows that paid leave increases the likelihood that employees will return to work, which increases retention and ultimately lowers costs for employers. Today, we will walk through a general paid family leave overview, how paid family leave interacts with other benefits, what are an employer's responsibilities, the process for opting in as a public employer, how paid family leave has been working, resources to help employers, and of course, we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. Let's get started with an overview of what New York's paid family leave is. There are three uses of paid family leave, or PFL: bonding with a newly born, adopted, or foster child, caring for a family member with a serious health condition, and assisting loved ones when a spouse, domestic partner, child, or parent is deployed abroad on active military service. The maximum number of weeks an employee can take is 10 weeks in both 2019 and 2020, but that number rises to 12 weeks in 2021 when paid family leave is fully phased in. Time off can be taken either all at once or intermittently, in increments of 1 day. The wage benefits are based on a percentage of an employee's average weekly wage, up to a cap. For 2019, an employee will receive up to 55% of their average weekly wage, capped at 55% of the statewide average weekly wage, 60% in 2020, and 67% in 2021. Let's take a closer look at each use for paid family leave. We'll start with bonding with a child. Paid family leave provides both parents time to bond with a new child within the first 12 months of the birth, adoption, or foster placement of the child. Parents who work for different employers can take paid family leave at the same time to bond with the same child. Parents who work for the same employer can take it at the same time unless their employer prohibits it. In that case, they can take leave separately over the first 12 months following the child's birth, adoption, or foster placement. It's important to note that expectant mothers cannot take paid family leave for their own pregnancy. They can take it after the baby is born, but because paid family leave is used to care for family members, they'll have to wait for that baby to be born. The second use of PFL is to take leave to care for a family member with a serious health condition, which is defined as an illness, injury, impairment, or physical or mental health condition requiring either inpatient care or continuing treatment or supervision by a healthcare provider. Qualifying family members include a spouse, domestic partner, child, stepchild, parent, parent-in-law, step-parent, grandparent, and grandchild. The third type of leave is for assistance when a spouse, domestic partner, child, or parent is deployed abroad on active military service. Events may include short-notice military deployment, military events or related activities, service members' rest and recuperation, counseling, post-deployment activities, making financial or legal arrangements, and child care arrangements for military members' child. Paid family leave also provides protections for employees, including job protection. An employee must be returned to the same or comparable position after taking PFL. Continued health insurance while on leave on the same terms as if the employee had continued to work. Employees continue paying their share, if any. And protection from discrimination and retaliation for requesting or taking paid family leave. Paid family leave is employee funded through payroll deductions. The Department of Financial Services sets the annual deduction rate for each year to match the cost of coverage. Every employee contributes the same percentage of their gross wages each paycheck up to an annual cap. The current payroll contribution is 0.153% of an employee's gross wages each pay period, capped at an annual maximum of $107.97. For 2020, the payroll contribution is 0.270% of an employee's gross wages each pay period, capped at an annual maximum of $196.72. If an employee earns less than the New York State average weekly wage, their annual contribution will be less than the cap. So how does an employee request leave? An employee who wants to take paid family leave must notify their employer at least 30 days before their first day of leave, if foreseeable, and then obtain the PFL request forms for the type of leave they would like to take, complete the application forms, and attach any required supporting documents. And third, submit to the employer's insurance carrier within 30 days of starting leave. The insurance carrier will either pay or deny the claim within 18 days of receiving the completed request or the employee's first day of leave, whichever is later. If an employee's claim is denied or they have another claim-related dispute, they may request arbitration. Arbitration for paid family leave is handled by NAM, National Arbitration and Mediation. Their website is www.nyspfla.com. Now that we've covered the types of leave, the benefits, and the costs, let's discuss who is eligible to take paid family leave. Now that you know about the uses and benefits of paid family leave, how does an employee become eligible? Employees who work for a covered employer become eligible to take paid family leave after working a certain amount of time for that employer. Employees who regularly work 20 or more hours per week after 26 consecutive weeks of employment with the same employer. Employees who regularly work fewer than 20 hours per week for 175 days with the same employer. Citizenship and/or immigration status is not a factor in eligibility. An employee who will not become eligible has the right to waive coverage, which means they will not have deductions taken out of their paychecks. Employees qualify for a waiver if they regularly work 20 or more hours per week, but won't be in employment with that employer for 26 consecutive weeks, or regularly work fewer than 20 hours, and won't work 175 days in a 52-week period. Employers must provide a waiver to those who qualify. Waivers are available at paidfamilyleave.ny.gov. Employees who file a waiver will be ineligible for benefits and exempt from making contributions. How does PFL interact with other similar benefits? There are several similarities between New York's paid family leave and the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. Both provide leave for similar qualifying events: bonding with a child, caring for a family member with a serious health condition, and assisting when a family member is deployed abroad on active military service. Employees are also guaranteed that they'll return to the same or a similar position, and their health insurance shall continue on the same terms as if the employee had continued to work. However, there are a number of differences between New York's paid family leave and the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. PFL is paid. FMLA is not paid. Almost all private employers will carry PFL insurance. FMLA does not include insurance, and it has a 50-employee threshold for eligibility. The length of time employees must work is different. In PFL, if an employee regularly works 20 or more hours a week, they must be in employment for 26 consecutive weeks for that employer, and if they regularly work fewer than 20 hours per week, they must work 175 days for the same employer, which do not need to be consecutive. For FMLA, employees must have worked for a full year and 1,250 hours in the last 52 weeks to qualify. The biggest distinction may be that under New York's paid family leave, employees are taking leave to care for someone else, not for their own health condition. FMLA allows employees to take leave for their own health condition. PFL is only taken in full day increments. FMLA may be taken hourly. Also, under PFL, employees do not need to use other paid time off first. PFL cannot be taken at the same time as short-term disability or workers' compensation, which have different qualifying events. A woman who is disabled after giving birth may qualify for both short-term disability and PFL, which she could take consecutively, but never on the same day. What are an employer's responsibilities related to paid family leave? Most private employers in New York State are required to provide PFL coverage to their employees. Public employers may opt in. Public employees subject to collective bargaining must agree to participate. For an employer to provide PFL coverage, they must secure a policy and collect payroll deductions to pay for the insurance premium, provide information about paid family leave to their employees, and provide wage and work history information to the carrier when an employee requests PFL. Public employers may decide to voluntarily opt into paid family leave at any time, although there may be notice requirements. A public employer is defined by law as any political subdivision of the state, a public authority, or any government agency or instrumentality of the state. It is important to note that once a public employer opts into paid family leave, coverage must be maintained for at least 1 year. The process for opting in is easy. However, there are a few things to consider in the process. 1, which employees will you provide coverage for, and when will your coverage begin? 2, how will paid family leave interact with your existing benefits? And 3, how will you obtain coverage? Let's start with which employees you will provide coverage for. You can decide to provide paid family leave coverage for non-represented employees at any time, for example, MC employees. You must give employees and the Workers' Compensation Board 90 days notice before taking any payroll deductions. Represented or union employees can only be covered for paid family leave if the benefit is negotiated through collective bargaining. A labor union may negotiate with a public employer for paid family leave benefits at least as favorable as those mandated by statute. Employees covered by collective bargaining must agree to PFL coverage. There are a few things that can be negotiated, including whether employees are required to pay a weekly contribution, and if an employer agrees to provide benefits greater than statutory PFL, they may agree that employees pay more than the maximum weekly contribution. This requires approval by the Workers' Compensation Board. Public employers should also consider the following. Do you have existing leave benefits? If so, how will PFL and those benefits interact? How will paid family leave interact with accruals and FMLA, if applicable? Will you provide service or retirement credit while an employee is on paid family leave? These are decisions you, as the employer, can make when implementing paid family leave. You can obtain paid family leave insurance coverage by including paid family leave benefits through a rider on an existing disability benefits policy, purchasing a standalone paid family leave insurance policy, or self-insuring for paid family leave. A list of insurers offering paid family leave policies is available on the Department of Financial Services website. Please note that obtaining coverage for represented employees is conditional on the terms of the collective bargaining agreement. Once you have obtained coverage, you must notify the Workers' Compensation Board of your decision to opt into paid family leave. If you currently provide disability benefits, Email the Workers' Compensation Board Plans Acceptance Unit at pau@wcb.ny.gov, stating that you plan to provide paid family leave to employees. If insured for disability benefits, notify your disability benefits insurance carrier of your decision. You may choose to either pay for the cost of coverage or take weekly employee payroll deductions. Once you've obtained coverage, you submit an application to the New York State Workers' Compensation Board, along with providing notice to unrepresented employees at least 90 days before collecting employee contributions, if contributions will be required. And now that we are quickly approaching the end of year 2 of New York State's paid family leave, we want to show you how it's working. In our first year alone, 128,000 people took paid family leave across the state. More than 86,000 of those were for bonding, and 39,000 were to care for a family member. New York's PFL has already affected the lives of so many working New Yorkers and their families. And while hearing these big numbers helps us to understand the scale and the scope of paid family leave's impact, it's the personal stories that truly convey the significance of this new benefit. Brian W. from Williamstown, New York, was able to take paid family leave to care for his daughter while she battled a serious illness. Time that Brian would have otherwise had to have been at work so that he could continue to provide for his family. With paid family leave, families in New York are no longer forced to choose between caring for their loved ones and risking their economic security. New York State has provided a wealth of resources to help employers, employees, and providers understand and utilize paid family leave. For all these wonderful resources, visit our website at paidfamilyleave.ny.gov. If you have any questions after today's meeting, we also have a helpline available Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We also want to make sure you are aware of the board's Advocate for Business. The Advocate for Business is the liaison between New York's business community and the Workers' Compensation Board, giving employers one place to contact for answers to their workers' compensation questions, as well as any questions employers may have about paid family leave as it relates to your business. You can contact Neil Gilberg, the Advocate for Business, at 518-486-3331 or neil.gilberg@wcb.ny.gov. You and your employees can also contact the Paid Family Leave Helpline at 844-337-6303 for assistance Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. If you are not already subscribed to email updates on paid family leave, you can subscribe by clicking Get Updates on the bottom of the paidfamilyleave.ny.gov homepage. Thank you, everyone who joined us for your participation today.